Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. It's about damn time. Finally, the SEC goes after some bad actors. Recently, we've all been on Gary and SEC for targeting great legitimate projects and trying to ruin the crypto space. But finally, they decided to go after a few bad actors, a few bad projects, and I'm going to share with you all the details. So the SEC finally have decided to take action against Richard Hart, aka Richard Schuller, and action against Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. Okay, Hex has been around for a very long time. Everyone in the industry knows that it's a Ponzi, it's a scam. But for whatever reason, SEC decided to take its time to go after Hex and Richard Hart. And recently, a lot of people have been talking about Pulsechain and PulseX, but we know that they're all controlled by Richard Hart. And this lawsuit is not only claiming that Richard did sell unregistered securities, but also for fraud. That is the most important thing, the fraud part. The security token sale, we know that's kind of, that's still a big thing. XRP obviously declared non-securities, but all these other coins that the SEC is trying to say are securities, we just, we know that that is inconclusive at this point. But the fraud part, that's the most important thing. So right now, if you look at PulseX is down about 35%. You have Hex that's down 28%. Okay, so obviously a lot of bag holders are fearful or selling off. So there's a lot of things that's coming out right now, like in terms of the fraud part. What did Richard do exactly, right? Well, we know Richard likes to show off a lot of his luxury goods, his private jet, his Louis Vuitton bags, and everything else, right? But here's a snippet of what they're claiming. Between December 2019 and November 20, Hart, via the Hex public wallet address, accepted more than 2.3 million Ether. At the time, close to 678 million, okay? And they were being used to recycle transactions directed by Hart and other insiders, which enabled Hart and other insiders to gain control of large number of Hex tokens. Okay, so yeah, that's not right. And also, listen to this. According to the complaint, Hart and Pulsechain defraud investors by misappropriating at least 12.1 million of Pulsechain investor funds, which were used by Hart for expensive items such as 555 carat diamond luxury cars and watches. Okay, and also Hart allegedly did not disclose or transfer 217 million in investor fund assets to a private wallet. Then he used a decentralized aggregator and the mixer to conceal his misappropriation of Pulsechain investor assets for his own personal use. So basically, he took a lot of investor money to either buy expensive luxury items, or he used it to add more buy pressure to Hex and Pulsechain, right? So that is where the fraud comes in. And Richard used to love doing stuff like this, right? $10,000 product fit. And then he would show himself with a ton of Louis Vuitton bags and on private jets and so forth, right? There's just a lot that he was showboating, bragging, right? But it kind of disappeared. I mean, to be honest, I stopped seeing Richard going on interviews, stopped streaming. I don't see a lot of these kind of pictures anymore because it was rumored that SEC was going to target Richard and Hex and Pulsechain back in November 2022. So maybe that's when things stopped for him, but now they are finally taking action. So it's about damn time, and this is what everyone's been waiting for. And I've always said this. I wouldn't even address this. I mean, when people ask me about Pulsechain recently, I say, stay far away from it. I don't see anyone ask about Hex these days, but it was clearly that a project that was just a giant Ponzi, and something was not right about that. So definitely be careful, guys. I don't think any of you guys watching are holders of either one of these, but if you are, it's definitely time to get out. Now, so that's the good news of the day. Now, the bad news of the day is the SEC once again is still trying to control the entire crypto market. So it's good when the SEC actually targets bad actors, but when they're targeting good actors, of course, that's not good for anyone or anyone in the industry. Brian Armstrong finally revealed that before the SEC sued Coinbase, they asked Coinbase to delist everything except Bitcoin, because according to them, only Bitcoin is a non-security, right? Now, had Brian Armstrong and Coinbase, had they agreed, basically this would have set precedence that everything was a non-security, right? And they didn't want to do that. That's why they said F you, and then SEC decided to sue them, right? So see, in cases like this, we love to hate Gary and SEC, right? Because they basically they're trying to scare companies into compliance, right? And then with that compliance, they're like, okay, that's according to law. But it's not according to the law. And Brian Armstrong also said that. There's nowhere in the law that says only Bitcoin is a non-security and everything else is security, right? But that's what the SEC has been doing, targeting specific projects to deem stable coins a security, to deem anything that's stakeable as security, right? Anything that's sold on exchange as security. That's what they were trying to do. And unfortunately, it was working. But now we have good actors like Coinbase and others that's fighting a good fight. Obviously, Ripple did as well. So glad to hear it. So, overall, I think the SEC is just barking up the wrong tree. Or at least Gary is trying to take too much control. What they need to do more of is to target the bad actors, right? Like Hex and Pulsechain and PulseX and Richard Hart. And I'm glad to see that they are finally doing so. Now, outside of these big SEC news, I mean, for Bitcoin, still kind of stagnant, still around 29,300. Everyone's waiting for the next leg up, right? But this is what's happening right now. When you zoom out and you look at what has happened before and where we are now, perfectly healthy, and we have a long, long way to go up there. And in terms of macro view, I mean, just look at it. Very similar to some of the previous bottoms. It's not identical, but you could see during those bottoms, yes, we had some horrific times, and then we started recovering, and then we get better days. And as we get closer and closer to having an event, we will have better days for sure. And then lastly, look at this. Addresses with non-zero balance continues to go up 47.9 million. That's quite a lot. And because of the holders that continue to DCA, Bitcoin's price action will follow this. The fundamentals of Bitcoin has never been better. And, we'll see. We'll see the results of that within the next 2 years. After we have the halving event and we have that parabolic rise up, we will then see the fruits of our labor, which is really just holding and DCAing. That's really it. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I'm still gonna be in Vegas for most of this week, so I will still be recording videos like this and getting you guys updated. I did post a interview that I had with Sin City Crypto while I was here. Had a lot of fun. A lot of people, I don't know, some people didn't get it, but it was meant to be something different, more a vlog style show, and we talked about like aliens and all these things, right? But we had a good time. I certainly had a good time. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. See you guys later. Bye-bye.